What's going on, everyone? Dominik here from Auri Digital, and today I am going to show you probably the easiest way to gain new leads into your business. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to go out and look for lead gen agencies. You don't have to go out and pay somebody for advertising or anything. No, it's called cold email marketing, or even just database reactivation email marketing. Now, what is that? Well, you might have a client database already. You might have people that already signed up to your newsletters. You might have people's emails that you could send offers to that might be interested in your offers. You might have a leads list of people that have that need your services, and you could send them cold emails, right? So let's get started. I'm going to show you exactly step by step what you need to do to get these cold emails going for absolutely nothing, okay? There's a few technical things you have to take care of first, but nonetheless, once you take care of this, you're pretty good to go, right? So first of all, I have right here, let's say for example, I just called somebody, I called a prospect, and sometimes these people say, hey, I don't really have time right now, which is valid. Why don't you send me an email, right? So what I do is right here, I have this cold initial email template right here. Well, this is a campaign. But for example, I have a template for clients right here. So when they say send me an email, right, this is one of the emails that I send them. Now, what's so important about this is you have a few things in here, which is it's short, it's to the point, there's a lot of white space, there's not a lot of reading to do, because if you start putting a lot of information in there, people are just going to look at it and they're just going to be like, I don't have time to read this. It's not important to me. It's not relevant. Move on, right? And we don't want that when we're sending out cold emails, right? So let me show you something that will help increase your email open rates and your conversions on that, right? So right here we have settings. This is by the way, this is a CRM service called GoHighLevel. If this is something you're interested in, and to automate all these cold emails, which you could automate them by hand, and you could not physically write them out by hand, but like you could type them up in Gmail, save them as templates, and send them out that way. But you could process them through an automation using something like GoHighLevel, or even something like Instantly.ai, and I'll get into that a little bit later, right? So right here, the best way to capture somebody's attention is obviously the subject line. Think about it, right? You go into your email mailbox and you look at an email, and based on the subject line, you base it on its front cover. Do you want to read it? Do you not want to read it? Do you want to dismiss it, ignore it? Do you want to mark it as spam? Whatever the case may be, right? So you have to think about that for a second. What will your subject line be? Now, here's one little secret. The best subject line that I have seen convert for me is asking a vague question. So for example, if somebody, let's say I was traveling, right? A travel agency hit me up and said, hey, did you know there was a promo at Hyatt last week? Or did you know that there's a promo at Hyatt next week? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm traveling next week. This person might know that I'm traveling. Let me open up this email because it probably pertains to me, right? Right? Then you have your preview text. The preview text is a little grayed out text after the subject line that gives you a little bit more of a snippet of information of the context within that email, right? Now, one important thing here as well is you do not want to give out too much information in these two, in the subject line and the preview text, because when you do that, then automatically that person will decide whether or not they want to go into that email, open it, read it, etc., right? If you give out too much information in those two areas, they'll just dismiss it, and you might have something very compelling on the inside that you really want people to see. So we don't want to dismiss them just by the cover, right? So that's very important too, right? And then you have your body of the email, and within the body, you must, I can't stress this enough, a lot of people don't do this, you must have some kind of call to action. You don't want somebody to read your email and then be like, that's cool, right? What are they going to do next, right? You sent them a cool email. Did you put in an offer? Did you give them something of value? Maybe like a free ebook, a PDF of some kind, a video testimonial, something along the lines of where they see that you can be trusted, that you're giving out value. Did you do that? That's the most important, right? So that's why over here, for example, we have something like click here to schedule a free call. Okay? And this is, by the way, this is just a tip of the iceberg, right? You create one of these, you can't just send one and expect your prospect to hit you back just because you sent them a single email. They probably won't even read this first email unless I call them and tell them to read that first email. And I don't want to do that. So what we do next is we go back here, we go to our automations, and we push these contacts or all these leads that I have, specifically the ones that say, hey, call me back or send me an email. We push them through a nurture automation, a nurture sequence right here, right? So that email, for example, a contact comes into this nurture sequence, that email will be the very first email that gets sent out to them, right? It'll be sent out to the person that's assigned to it, which will be me. It'll come from my email address. It'll come from not the company's email, but my email and my name. And that's important because if I have a marketing team and they're sending out their own emails, I don't want them sending them from my behalf. I want them sending it from their own behalf, right? And here's the email right here. Username, that would be me. User email, that would be my email address since I'm the assigned user here. Right, subject, I leave it blank here because I already set it up and configured it in the template. Here's the template that we're using, the cold call, send me an email template. I made it easy to remember because, why am I going to complicate it? That's probably the easiest way I could put it. I tried to come up with something. I'm literally not scripting any of this. I'm going on a whim here, and I'm just spitting whatever knowledge I could provide for you guys, right? Right, so that email gets sent out, and what do we do next? We wait for a response. Right here, we have a 3-day wait for response period, right? Now, you might wonder, what if you send it out on Thursday? Are they going to get it on a Sunday? You may want them to get on a Sunday. You may not want them to get on a Sunday. They might read their emails on a Sunday, but maybe you're just not rude and you don't want to send it to them on a Sunday. So it waits 3 days here. Let's say that 3 days falls onto a Sunday. Well, here's the second catch, right? Wait for business hours. So then once business hours hits, there's a 3-minute slip, and then that email gets sent out to them. Therefore, there's a higher likelihood of them being able to read this. Now, this is in my CRM platform. You guys, if you want access to it, I'll put a link down below, and you could automate all your cold nurture emails this way, right? You're getting a 2-for-1 video here because I was going to talk about email marketing, and now I'm talking about automations. But anyway, once they get past this step, I remove that send email tag because I like to tag my leads based on the certain steps that they are in a certain pipeline, right? So I remove that so I know that they had their first email sent, and then I tag them with nurture first email. When I see that in my CRM, I know that they had one nurture email already sent, right? Now what happens if they respond or don't respond? If they don't respond, they get pushed into my second nurture sequence, which would be another email after the 3 days because they got pushed through here already. And then in that second nurture sequence, I'm going to set it to like 5 days or 7 days. And then another one, I'll set it to like 2 weeks later, a month, etc., etc. You get the point until they respond. Okay, so now let's go back and let's talk about some of the email settings. Now, this is very important because your emails will not go through. They will go to spam if you don't follow these steps. So the first thing you want to do is you want to warm up your email address, right? And the easiest way to warm up your email address is go to Instantly. This is free for 14 days. I am not sponsored. I'm not affiliated with them. I personally use this to warm up my email addresses, right? Now, you're going to understand here in a second why I'm saying warming up email addresses is because you do not want to use your primary domain. Let's move my head out of the way real quick, and I will show you what I mean right here. All right, so here we have our email services. I'm currently using my primary domain. I'm not using my primary domain. Why? Well, let's say, for example, you send out a bulk 10,000 emails. It could be dripped, like, 3 or 4 an hour or 5 an hour, whatever the case may be. And a lot of people just tend to market as spam, right? And they keep marketing as spam. Now all your emails from that domain are going to be going into spam. Well, what if that's the primary domain that you use to send invoices for you to send certain offers to your current customers, some updates, some internal emails, some marketing emails to whatever the case may be. That's like an email address that you actually use for your business, if you know what I mean, right? So with that being said, you need to have 2 other domains. For example, our primary domain is Auri Digital, right? Our mailer domain, which I like to call, is Auri Digital Services or Auri Digital Marketing or Auri Digital Offers. And we use those to send out our cold emails, because if we blacklist our main domain, well, then that means our clients aren't getting their invoices. That means all that stuff is going into spam. And that's something that we just do not want. Now, speaking of going into spam, there are a few things that you still need to do before you even warming up that email address, before you do any of that. And Instantly AI will actually help you. That I just remembered that. They'll help you set up all that. And that is to set up your SPF records, your DMARC records, your DKIM records. What are these records? They're basically like a trusted handshake, right? For example, DKIM is something you configure within your email sender, whether you use like Google Workspaces, Google Admin, or Office 365. You set up a DKIM record under your email address, and it tells Office 365 or Google that like you are that email address because of that handshake. Therefore, when you're going out into somebody else's mailbox, you are trusted, right? You're not coming from some third party somewhere in like Nigeria or the Philippines or wherever the case may be. You are coming from the person that you say that you are, and you're going to the appropriate mailboxes. So those are 3 things you definitely need to sign up, right? And and then once you warm these email addresses up, you can bring them back into your CRM to be managed by your CRM, so you could send out these marketing emails. Instantly AI will do all that for you as well if you don't have a CRM, which is really cool. And again, I'm not sponsored. I use them and love it. And then, but let's go back to the CRM for a second, right? So once you have your sending domains here, you could actually set it up in a way to where is this? Dedicated domains. You could set it up to where it is split. And what I mean by that, domain configurations is, so you have 3 different sending domains, right? And you're sending out a bulk, 1,000 emails, cold emails to people that you believe that would want it, like let's say a leads list. Then you split it up 33% between that domain, 33% between that, and 34% between that final domain, right? And that being said, that is literally one of the easiest free things you could actually start doing right now. So if you have a list of leads and emails and previous clients with their email addresses, go ahead and start making those templates, put in your SPF records, DKIM records, warm those emails up, and start sending those cold emails, because you will be surprised what kind of results you can get from that. Now, if you got any value from this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, because I plan to provide a lot more value, not just for cold emails, but for everything else like database reactivation, AI technologies, cold calling, etc. Just so you don't have to pay lead gen services to get proper leads to your business.